Did you know that in Japan there are entire communities with more than 100 centenarians who are active, with good memory, and walking on their own without help? And that the most experienced doctors from these regions have been warning for decades that the secret isn't in medicine, but in what you put on your plate every day? We're not talking about a miracle pill, but about one specific, simple food that's present in the routine of almost every Japanese centenarian. And that could drastically change your future if you know how to use it. Maybe you've believed up to now that aging is synonymous with pain, memory loss, constant fatigue, and a long list of medications. But these veteran doctors in Japan say exactly the opposite. You can live longer and better with clarity, mobility, and energy, and the key may be in your kitchen. Most people ignore this food because it looks ordinary, even too basic. But that's precisely what makes it so powerful. It isn't industrialized, it isn't expensive, and it doesn't depend on trends, only on consistency. In the next few minutes, you're going to understand what this food does in your body, how it protects your vital organs, strengthens your immunity, and even improves your circulation. And it doesn't stop there. At the end of the video, I'll reveal how the oldest Japanese consume this food in a way that enhances its effects even more. And the best part, it doesn't involve any radical diet, any imported product, or any suffering at the table. It's something you can start tomorrow, right at home. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you for a simple but important favor. Leave your like below. It helps YouTube show this video to more people who need to know this. Subscribe to the channel because here you'll find a lot of content on natural health and quality aging. And comment below which city and country you're watching this video from. Let's create a community of people who want to grow old with awareness, strength, and wisdom like the Japanese have done for centuries. Number 1, the foundation of longevity. Many believe that Japanese longevity comes down to genetics or chance. But the truth is, there are clear, repeated patterns in the diet of people who pass 100 in Japan. And we're not talking about a diet full of restrictions or exotic, hard-to-find foods. The true wisdom lies in purposeful simplicity every day. They consume specific foods that have been passed down from generation to generation and that are now being studied by modern science for their effects on the brain, the heart, and even the prevention of chronic diseases. These foods are the foundation of what veteran Japanese doctors themselves call active longevity. In other words, living long, but with autonomy, clarity, and quality. And perhaps the most surprising thing is this. You have access to all of these foods today, but you're probably not using them the right way. In Japan, they're treated almost like rituals. The timing, the method of preparation, and the frequency are just as important as the food itself. And that's where most people fail. They eat them occasionally without awareness, while the centenarians eat them every day. Some of these foods are so old that they appear in records of traditional Japanese medicine more than 800 years ago. Others became part of the food culture after World War II as a natural way to rebuild the population's health. The most impressive thing in regions like Okinawa and Nagano. These 5 foods show up in practically every family that has members over 90 or 100 years old. It's not a coincidence. It's wisdom applied with discipline. And before you think this way of eating is flavorless or boring, know that Japanese cuisine is one of the most appreciated in the world, precisely because it manages to be nutritious and delicious at the same time. These foods aren't present only for their medicinal properties, but because they bring well-being, lightness, and real energy to the body. And as you get to know each of them, you'll understand how they work silently in areas that you may be trying to treat with medication without success. Now that you understand the context, let's get straight to the point. What are the 5 foods consumed daily by the longest-lived Japanese in the world? From here on, we'll explore each of them in depth, their benefits, how to consume them, and what science has already discovered about their effects on the body. And get ready, because the last 2 are the least known outside Japan. and according to centenarian doctors, they're the most potent. Number 2, cabbage, the food of humility. It may seem too simple to be on a list like this, but cabbage is one of the most present foods in the diet of Japanese centenarians, and perhaps one of the most underestimated in the Western world. In regions like Okinawa, where there is the highest concentration of people over 100, it appears in almost every meal of the day, prepared in various ways, fermented, lightly steamed, or raw in salads. Japanese medicine considers cabbage a true protector of the body, especially for its anti-inflammatory and healing properties. According to the most experienced doctors in Japan, cabbage helps detoxify the liver, protect the stomach, and regulate the intestines, which are considered the 3 pillars of healthy old age. In addition, it contains glucosinolates, natural compounds that have been studied for their preventive action against several types of cancer. But the most curious thing is that among Japanese elders, cabbage is known as the food of humility. It isn't expensive, it isn't glamorous, but it's strong, resilient, and complete. Exactly how they believe a human being should be when aging. An interesting detail is that many of the centenarians who consume cabbage daily have light digestion, deep sleep, and rarely suffer from intestinal diseases. Buddhist tradition teaches that a calm intestine generates a clear mind, and that's exactly what cabbage promotes. It acts as a natural tonic, alkalizing the body, cleansing the blood, and strengthening the intestinal flora without the need for capsules or expensive supplements. Eating cabbage for them is like caring for the body gently, a quiet act of prevention. In Japan, it's not just about eating cabbage any which way. They respect preparation. Cabbage is never boiled until it loses its properties. It's steamed for just a few minutes, eaten raw with natural dressings, or slowly fermented. The famous tsukemono, which besides being delicious, turns into a natural probiotic. This way of consuming it increases the benefits even more, bringing intestinal balance, clean energy, and protection for the immune system. It's the kind of detail that can make a real difference in your day-to-day life. Another factor that stands out is how cabbage is associated with longevity, with mobility. Japanese centenarians say they feel light on the inside, and they attribute this, among other things, to daily consumption of this vegetable. Less gas, less bloating, less abdominal weight. All of this favors circulation, breathing, and proper brain function. And the best part, it's one of the cheapest, most accessible vegetables, easy to find at any farmer's market or grocery store. It's available to everyone, but few see the value it carries. If you have cabbage in your refrigerator right now, you may never look at it the same way again. It may seem simple, but it carries ancestral strength and age-old wisdom. Start including it more consciously in your meals. Vary the preparation, consume it frequently, try fermenting. Over time, you'll notice the body's subtle signs. Lighter digestion, clearer skin, deeper sleep, and that quiet sense of vitality that the Japanese deeply respect and that we're only beginning to rediscover. Number 3, sweet potatoes, the perfect fuel. Few foods represent the combination of simplicity and power as well as the sweet potato. In Okinawa, considered the region with the highest concentration of centenarians in the world. It's not just a food, it's part of the local culture and identity. For the oldest Japanese, the sweet potato is seen as the perfect fuel for the body and mind. And with good reason, it provides stable energy, doesn't overburden the body, and helps keep glucose and insulin levels balanced. Even at advanced ages, it's a respected food consumed out of tradition and out of wisdom. Historically, during Japan's toughest periods, especially after the war, it was the sweet potato that sustained entire families. It replaced rice in several regions, including Nagano, which today also houses thousands of elders with enviable health. But the most impressive thing is that this food hasn't aged. The people who eat it have, but with vitality. Older Japanese doctors state that this tuber strengthens the bones, the intestines, and the heart, and all of that without requiring complex preparation. Without preservatives or additives, the sweet potato is extremely rich in soluble fibers, potassium, beta-carotene, and natural antioxidants. That means it combats chronic inflammation, helps control blood pressure, and improves brain function. Japanese centenarians who consume it daily report fewer joint pains, lighter digestion, and even improved sleep quality. And there's something even more interesting. It has a low glycemic index, meaning it's a smart carbohydrate that nourishes without harming. Unlike pasta, breads, and refined sugars, another important point is how it's consumed in Japan. While many people around the world add sugar, syrups, or condensed milk to sweet potatoes, the Japanese prefer purity, steamed slowly, baked, or cut into pieces and allowed to cool before eating. This last detail is an ancestral secret. When cooled, the sweet potato develops resistant starch, which feeds the good bacteria in the gut and contributes to a healthy microbiota. A key element in Japanese longevity, more than an energy food. The sweet potato is considered a spiritual root in traditional Eastern medicine. It grounds, balances, and calms. That's why many monks consume it before long meditations or rituals. It brings a clean sense of satiety without weighing you down. And symbolically, it represents the strength that grows in the dark beneath the earth. Just like the resilience that develops during the quiet phases of life. Eating sweet potatoes every day for the oldest Japanese is a way of nourishing both body and soul. You can find sweet potatoes at any market at an affordable price. You can prepare them in various ways and include them in your meals without effort. But what's most important is what they symbolize. The choice for energy that nourishes rather than intoxicates. If you've been looking for a way to improve your energy, take care of your intestines, prevent silent diseases, and keep your mind clearer over the years. Maybe the answer isn't in expensive supplements, but in this ancestral, humble, extraordinary food among the longest-lived Japanese on the planet. Number 4. Brown rice, the pillar of daily eating. Brown rice isn't just a side dish, it's the pillar of daily eating, even with the popularization of more refined versions. The oldest Japanese doctors continue to defend the use of brown rice as a source of stable, natural, and deeply restorative energy. It's a staple present at breakfast, lunch, and even dinner. And it's no exaggeration to say that for many centenarians. It's as important as air and water. Unlike white rice, brown rice retains its bran, germ, and natural fibers, which makes it much more nutritious and functional. It contains magnesium, selenium, phosphorus, B-complex vitamins, and a load of fiber that favors slower, more efficient digestion. But the most interesting thing is what doctors call clean satiety. Brown rice provides energy without causing glucose spikes, without inflaming the body, and without that heavy feeling that follows an unbalanced meal. For Japanese centenarians, brown rice isn't just food, it's discipline. They chew slowly, respect the food, and use the act of eating as a moment of connection with the body. This activates the digestive system more intelligently, improves the absorption of nutrients, and reduces the risk of toxin buildup. Unlike the modern habit of gulping down anything in a hurry, older Japanese see rice as training in presence, and this detail may seem small, but it has a direct impact on intestinal, mental, and emotional health. In addition, brown rice is known for being a natural intestinal modulator. It helps regulate bowel movements without irritating the mucosa, improves the bacterial flora, and supports the immune system, which is directly linked to the intestines. Older Japanese doctors frequently associate the continuous consumption of brown rice with the reduction of autoimmune diseases, type 2 diabetes, and hormonal imbalances. It's a simple food, but with profound results. In Japan, There are even community studies showing that villages that maintain the habit of consuming brown rice daily have a lower incidence of degenerative diseases and more. Residents report more energy throughout the day, fewer episodes of anxiety, and a greater capacity for concentration. All of that without resorting to stimulants or artificial formulas. Brown rice consumed with attention and regularity nourishes from the inside out, at the right pace and the right measure. If you're seeking a smarter, longer-lasting way of eating that's connected to the pillars of longevity, start by looking at the rice you consume. Replacing white rice with brown may seem like a small step, but for your body, it's a decision that changes the destiny of your energy, your mind, and your health. Japanese centenarians aren't chasing trendy diets. They stick with what works. And brown rice is without a doubt one of the most consistent choices they make every day. Number 5, cucumbers. The food of balance. In Japanese culture, cucumber is more than a refreshing ingredient. It's considered a food of balance, responsible for lowering the internal fire, an expression used by the oldest doctors to refer to silent inflammation that over time accelerates the body's aging. And it's no coincidence that this vegetable appears so often in the diet of centenarians. From breakfast to dinner, cucumber is always present in pickles, salads, or even as a sign for tea. Simple, inexpensive, and extremely functional. According to traditional Japanese teachings, cucumber acts as an internal cleanser. It helps eliminate toxins through the kidneys, reduces fluid retention, and calms the digestive system, especially during periods of heat or excess heavy foods. In practice, regular consumption of cucumber promotes a lighter body, less bloating, and better circulation. And when the blood circulates well, the brain functions better, the heart works with less effort, and the joints stay younger for longer. Modern medicine has been confirming what the Japanese have known for centuries. Cucumber is a rich source of silica, potassium, and flavonoids, compounds that help maintain skin elasticity, joint lubrication, and proper liver function. For Japanese centenarians, this food is essential because it promotes an internal sense of freshness, reduces metabolic heat, and helps the body recover more easily after physical efforts or moments of stress. They don't see cucumber as salad, they see it as daily medicine. Another important point is preparation. While in many countries cucumber is served only sliced, in Japan it takes on many forms. Naturally pickled, lightly fermented, cut with ginger, or paired with rice vinegar. This kind of preparation enhances digestive effects, regulates appetite, and increases the intake of beneficial enzymes for the stomach. In addition, the Japanese avoid peeling cucumber because its skin contains much of the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds. Cucumber's lightness isn't just physical, it impacts the mental state. Many elderly people in Japan report that by including cucumber in their meals, they feel calmer, less anxious, and with a lighter body. This food is so present in the daily life of centenarian families that in some regions it's common to see it served even at breakfast. The goal is always the same: keep the body clean, fresh, and functional. And it's this simplicity that makes the difference. If you struggle with bloating, poor digestion, mental sluggishness, or excess heat, you might need fewer pills and more cucumber on your plate. Adding this vegetable regularly, respecting its freshness, and avoiding excess salt and vinegar can transform your digestive and circulatory routine. It's a small gesture with deep cumulative effects. After all, centenarians don't live long because they make big changes. They live long because they make small and concrete changes. Correct choices every day. Number 6, green tea. The health ritual. For the oldest Japanese, green tea isn't just a beverage. It's a health ritual. In the regions of Japan where people live beyond 100, with mental clarity and vitality, it's common for the day to begin and end with a cup of green tea. This age-old practice is passed down from generation to generation, not only out of tradition, but because of the real effects tea has on the body. It strengthens the mind, cleanses the blood, and slows cellular aging. Green tea is rich in a compound called EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, a powerful antioxidant that fights free radicals, the main culprits behind premature aging and various chronic diseases. In addition, it's known to improve circulation, protect the heart, and stimulate cellular regeneration. It's no wonder that studies with Japanese centenarians show that those who drink green tea daily have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's, cardiovascular diseases, and even certain types of cancer. But the secret of green tea also lies in its impact on the brain. The oldest Japanese doctors say that tea cleans the thoughts, and science is beginning to prove it. Green tea increases levels of dopamine and GABA, neurotransmitters that improve focus, reduce anxiety, and provide mental clarity. That's why many Japanese elders manage to maintain lucid conversations, vivid memories, and even learn new skills even at 90 or more. They don't just live longer, they live awake. Another advantage of green tea is that unlike coffee, it contains a form of caffeine that is absorbed slowly without causing spikes of agitation or sudden drops in energy. This gives Japanese centenarians a constant sense of calm alertness without exhaustion or dependency. And it doesn't stop there. Tea also improves digestion, regulates blood sugar, and promotes satiety, preventing overeating. That's why it's always served before or after meals. In Japan, drinking green tea also has a spiritual aspect. It's a moment of pause, presence, and silence. Many say that green tea isn't only for the body, but to calm the soul. It's common to see elders sitting on their porch watching time pass with a cup in hand. This small daily habit, practiced with intention, brings balance to the nervous system and helps the body maintain a state of self-regulation, which directly contributes to longevity. You can find green tea in any supermarket, but be careful. Avoid sweetened industrialized versions. Prefer loose-leaf tea or pure tea bags. Start with 1 cup a day in the morning or afternoon and observe how your body responds. Little by little, you'll notice more lightness, focus, and drive, exactly like the Japanese centenarians who have been consuming it for decades. Remember, it's not about living forever. It's about living with lucidity and dignity while you live. Number 7, foods to avoid for longevity. After learning about the foods that promote longevity, it's time to honestly look at what most people consume daily without noticing the silent damage. Many Japanese elders who live beyond 100 stand out not only for what they eat, but also for what they avoid with discipline. And here lies one of the greatest secrets of their health. They eliminate or reduce to a minimum the foods that inflame, congest, or wear down the body over time. And the scariest part, these foods are common, cheap, and in almost every kitchen. A first villain is refined vegetable oil such as soybean, corn, or canola oil. Even though they're cheap, these oils are highly inflammatory. In traditional Japan, this type of oil is hardly used at home. They prefer cold-pressed sesame oil or simply cooking with water and natural seasonings. The problem with refined oils is that at high temperatures, they release toxic substances that affect the liver, the intestines, and even the brain. And worse, they increase the risk of heart disease, silent obesity, and joint inflammation. If you're aging with aches and unexplained fatigue, it may be coming from the frying pan, not from age. Another enemy of longevity is the sugar hidden in normal foods. We're not talking only about the sugar in your coffee or dessert, but what's disguised in bread, ready-made sauces, whole grain cookies, and even yogurts considered healthy. Long-lived Japanese avoid excessive sweets, and when they want something with a mild flavor, they opt for seasonal fruits or natural preparations made at home. Refined sugar causes insulin spikes, throws hormones out of balance, and directly affects brain function. That's why many elders in the West reach their 70s with mental confusion and memory loss, while Japanese centenarians remain lucid. The brain gets sick slowly, and sugar accelerates this process. And perhaps the most dangerous of all is the food most people think is harmless. White bread, it seems innocent, easy, light, but it's one of the great saboteurs of the intestines, energy, and circulation. White bread has a high glycemic index, is poor in real nutrients, and quickly turns into sugar in the blood. This causes hormonal fluctuations, abdominal bloating, and that feeling of fatigue that many people have normalized as just part of aging. But it isn't normal. It's a silent and avoidable accumulation. Traditional Japanese centenarians eat brown rice instead of bread, consume roots instead of flowers, and avoid as much as possible foods that don't come from nature. They don't follow fads, internet diets, or nutrition apps. They follow the body's wisdom. If something makes you heavier, more tired, more irritable, or slower, it isn't real food. And over time, each food choice turns into a direct reflection on your mood, your energy, and the quality of your days. Another curious detail: by avoiding these three foods, many Japanese report immediate improvement in sleep, skin, and even mental function. And this isn't magic. It's just the body working as it should. The intestines balance out, inflammation recedes, circulation improves, and suddenly what seemed like age-related fatigue reveals itself as cumulative dietary intoxication. And the best part, you don't need to do everything at once. Just start reducing. Your longevity may not depend only on including the right foods, but also on having the courage to eliminate the wrong ones. These silent villains live in automatic habits, in the everyday oil, in the breakfast bread, in the little sweet after lunch. But the good news is you have a choice, and each choice has power. The body is always trying to recover. Just give it what nourishes and remove what sabotages. You don't need to be radical, nor change everything overnight. But you can start with one step. Choose one food and replace it. Take back control, because longevity isn't luck. It's a daily construction, and if the oldest Japanese live longer and better, maybe it isn't just because of genetics, but because of the small, conscious decisions they make every day on the plate, in the glass, and in the mind. Number 8, the philosophy of longevity. Now that you've learned about the foods recommended by the most experienced doctors in Japan and the ones they avoid with discipline, perhaps the greatest lesson isn't just what goes on the plate, but the way each choice is made. Because we're not talking about a fad diet, but about a philosophy of life. Japanese centenarians aren't trying to live forever, but to live with lightness, clarity, and purpose. And that is built day by day, meal by meal, choice by choice. They know the body is like a garden. What you cultivate flourishes, and what you neglect gets sick. That's why every tea they drink, every spoonful of brown rice, every piece of cucumber, every bowl of miso or cup of green tea aren't just foods. They are silent vows of self-care. They are rituals of love for life. And maybe when you begin to look at your eating with that same perspective, you'll realize there's still time and that your body's ready to respond. True longevity isn't just about living many years, but living with autonomy, clarity, and joy in the years to come. And that starts now. You don't need to wait for a collapse, an illness, or a doctor's warning. You can start with a choice. You can look at the farmer's market or the grocery store differently. You can recognize the simplicity of cabbage, the strength of sweet potatoes, the wisdom of brown rice, the freshness of cucumber, and the restorative quiet of green tea, and decide for yourself. I deserve more health than I've been allowing. If this video made sense to you, leave your like right now. It's the simplest way to say thank you for this content. Subscribe to the channel, because every week we have new reflections, practical tips, and ancient wisdom that can transform the way you live and age. And tell me here in the comments, which of these foods do you already consume? Or which one are you going to start including in your routine today? I read every comment with care, because this channel isn't just about videos, it's about connection. We are a community that believes aging doesn't have to be synonymous with decline. It can be wisdom, it can be lightness, it can be power. But for that, we need to take control of our health. And that starts in the simplest and most neglected place of all, on the plate. See you in the next video. May your body be light, your mind be clear, and may every meal be a conscious step toward a long, dignified, and meaningful life. Because longevity isn't an accident, it's a path, and you've just taken another firm step along it.